Watch the woman in the blue surgical scrubs walking through the automatic doors of Mercy General Hospital in Portland, Oregon. Her name is Dr. Sarah Chen. She's 29 years old. She carries a leather messenger bag over her shoulder. Her hospital ID badge hangs from a lanyard around her neck. The timestamp on the security camera reads 6:47 a.m., Thursday, October 12th. Dr. Chen is arriving for her shift in the emergency department. Within 8 hours, she will vanish from a locked hospital floor. This was not a random disappearance. This was carefully planned. Sarah Chen graduated from Oregon Health and Science University 3 years ago, top of her class. She completed her residency at Mercy General and accepted a full-time position in emergency medicine. Her colleagues described her as brilliant, compassionate, dedicated. She worked long hours. She rarely complained. She loved her job. Sarah lived alone in a one-bedroom apartment in the Pearl District. She'd been single for 6 months after ending a 2-year relationship with another physician. Her parents lived in Sacramento. She called them every Sunday. She had a tight circle of friends from medical school. She ran marathons. She volunteered at a free clinic on weekends. By every measure, Dr. Sarah Chen had built a life worth living. That morning, she posted to Instagram at 6:15 a.m. The photo showed her coffee cup next to her car keys. The caption read, "Early shift energy." It received 47 likes. It was the last post Sarah Chen would ever make. The drive from her apartment to Mercy General took 12 minutes. Traffic cameras captured her white Toyota Camry heading east on Burnside Street at 6:38 a.m. She was alone in the vehicle. She appeared relaxed. She appeared normal. At 6:44 a.m., her car entered the hospital employee parking garage. The parking gate timestamp confirmed entry. Security footage shows her parking on level 3, space E47. She exited her vehicle at 6:46 a.m. She walked toward the elevator. She pressed the button. The elevator arrived. She stepped inside. At 6:47 a.m., she walked through the main entrance. The automatic doors, the security cameras, everything was recorded. Dr. Sarah Chen had arrived for what should have been a routine 12-hour shift. The emergency department at Mercy General operates 24 hours a day, 300 beds, over 200 physicians and nurses, trauma cases, cardiac events, psychiatric emergencies. The ED handles everything. Dr. Chen checked in with the charge nurse at 6:52 a.m. Nurse Patricia Gomez had worked with Sarah for 2 years. She later told investigators that Sarah seemed fine, alert, focused, ready to work. Sarah's first patient arrived at 7:18 a.m., a 45-year-old man with chest pain. She ordered an EKG. She consulted with cardiology. The patient was admitted for observation. Standard protocol. Her second patient came at 8:03 a.m., a child with a broken arm. Sarah set the fracture. She spoke gently to the frightened 6-year-old. The mother later described Dr. Chen as an angel. At 9:30 a.m., Sarah took her first break. Security footage shows her in the hospital cafeteria. She purchased a bagel and orange juice. She sat alone at a corner table. She checked her phone. She appeared to be reading something. Her expression changed. She looked concerned. At 9:47 a.m., she returned to the ED. She treated 3 more patients over the next hour. A sprained ankle, a severe allergic reaction, a woman experiencing a panic attack. At 11:15 a.m., Dr. Chen told Nurse Gomez she needed to retrieve something from her locker. The staff locker room was on the 4th floor. Restricted access. Hospital employees only. Security cameras captured Sarah entering the elevator at 11:17 a.m. She pressed the button for the 4th floor. The doors closed. She never returned to the emergency department. The ED was busy that morning. Nurse Gomez didn't notice Sarah's absence immediately. Doctors often stepped away briefly. Phone calls, consults, bathroom breaks. 15 minutes wasn't unusual. By 11:45 a.m., Sarah had been gone 30 minutes. Gomez paged her. No response. She tried Sarah's cell phone. It went to voicemail. At 12:10 p.m., Gomez asked another physician to check the locker room. Dr. James Martinez walked to the 4th floor. The locker room was empty. Sarah's locker was closed. Her messenger bag was inside. Martinez checked the bathrooms. Nothing. He checked the meditation room, the staff break room, the supply closets. Dr. Sarah Chen was nowhere on the 4th floor. At 12:30 p.m., hospital security was notified. Security supervisor David Klein reviewed the camera footage. He watched Sarah enter the elevator at 11:17 a.m. He watched the elevator reach the 4th floor at 11:18 a.m. The doors opened. Sarah stepped out. She turned left toward the locker room. She walked past the camera. She disappeared from view. Klein checked every camera on the 4th floor. There were 7 cameras covering the hallways, the locker rooms, the stairwell exits. After 11:18 a.m., Dr. Sarah Chen did not appear on any of them. Klein checked the elevator logs. No one else entered or exited the 4th floor between 11:15 a.m. and 12:30 p.m. The stairwell doors were equipped with electronic locks. Badge access required. The logs showed no activity. At 1:05 p.m., Klein called the Portland Police Bureau. A missing doctor. A locked floor. No explanation. Something was very wrong. Detective Rachel Ortega arrived at Mercy General at 1:47 p.m. Ortega was 38 years old, a 12-year veteran of the Portland PD. She specialized in missing persons cases. She'd worked over 100 cases. Most ended quickly. Most ended well. This case would not be like the others. Ortega interviewed Nurse Gomez first. Gomez described Sarah's morning. The patients, the break in the cafeteria, the phone, the concerned expression. Did Dr. Chen say anything about what she saw on her phone? Ortega asked. No, but she looked worried, like something upset her. Ortega requested Sarah's phone records. She requested access to Sarah's locker. Inside the messenger bag, she found Sarah's wallet, her phone, her car keys. Everything was there. Sarah's phone showed the last activity at 9:43 a.m. She'd received a text message from an unknown number. The message read, "We need to talk about what happened. 4th floor, 11:30. Come alone." Ortega felt her stomach tighten. This wasn't a spontaneous disappearance. Someone had lured Sarah to that floor. She reviewed the security footage herself. She watched Sarah step off the elevator. She watched Sarah turn left. Then, nothing. "Where are the cameras covering that hallway?" Ortega asked Klein. "There should be 2, Klein said. 1 at each end." "Should be?" Klein pulled up the system logs. Both cameras had gone offline at 11:16 a.m. 2 minutes before Sarah arrived, the system logged it as a technical malfunction. Both cameras came back online at 11:52 a.m. No malfunction had been reported. No maintenance had been scheduled. Someone had disabled those cameras. Ortega called for backup. By 2:30 p.m., 6 officers were searching the 4th floor. They checked every room, every closet, every storage area. They found nothing. The 4th floor contained administrative offices, the staff locker rooms, a small conference room, and a supply area. Approximately 12,000 square feet, 32 rooms total. At 3:15 p.m., an officer noticed something odd about the supply room at the end of the east hallway. The door was locked from the inside. The electronic badge reader showed no entry since 8:30 a.m. Ortega requested a master key. Hospital maintenance unlocked the door. The supply room was empty. Metal shelving units lined the walls. Medical supplies, linens, cleaning products. Everything appeared normal. But there was a smell. Faint. Chemical. Ortega knelt near the floor. She noticed scuff marks on the linoleum. Fresh. Recent. She followed them to the back corner of the room. Behind a shelving unit, she found a ventilation grate. It had been removed. The screws lay on the floor. Ortega shined her flashlight into the vent. The duct was large, wide enough for a person. "Get me a building schematic," she said. "Now." The ventilation system at Mercy General was installed in 1987 during a major renovation. The ducts ran throughout the building. Most were narrow, designed only for airflow, but the main trunk lines were different, industrial-sized, built to accommodate maintenance access. The duct behind the supply room connected to the main trunk line. That line ran horizontally across the fourth floor, then down through the building's central shaft. It terminated in the mechanical room in the basement. At 4:05 p.m., Ortega descended into the basement with 2 officers and a hospital maintenance engineer. The mechanical room was vast. Boilers, HVAC equipment, electrical panels. The air was hot and loud. The vent opening was behind a row of water heaters. The grate had been removed from the inside. It lay on the concrete floor. Ortega stepped closer. She saw fibers caught on the metal edge. Long, dark brown hair. She saw something else. A small piece of blue fabric. Surgical scrubs. Dr. Sarah Chen had been taken through the ventilation system. The mechanical room had one exit, a heavy steel door leading to a service corridor. The door required badge access. The electronic log showed one entry at 11:34 a.m. The badge belonged to Michael Torres, a hospital maintenance worker. Torres was located at 4:40 p.m. He was working on the second floor, repairing a malfunctioning sink. He appeared confused when officers approached him. "I haven't been in the basement today," Torres said. "I've been up here since 7 this morning." Ortega asked where his badge was. Torres reached for his belt. The badge holder was empty. I had it this morning. I swiped in at the employee entrance." "When did you last see it?" Torres thought. "I took a break around 10. I went to the cafeteria. I might have left it on the table." Security footage confirmed Torres in the cafeteria at 10:12 a.m. He sat alone. He placed his badge on the table while he ate. At 10:24 a.m., a man in a gray hoodie sat at the adjacent table. The camera angle was poor. The man's face was obscured. At 10:29 a.m., Torres stood and walked away. His badge remained on the table. The man in the gray hoodie reached over. He took the badge. He walked away. At 11:34 a.m., that same badge was used to exit the basement mechanical room. Someone had stolen Torres's badge. Someone had used it to move Dr. Sarah Chen out of the building. The service corridor led to an external door, a loading dock. The door's alarm system had been disabled. The wires had been cut. Security cameras covered the loading dock. Ortega requested the footage. At 11:38 a.m., a white panel van pulled up to the dock. No visible markings, no license plate visible from that angle. A man in a gray hoodie exited the driver's side. He opened the van's rear doors. He entered the building. At 11:42 a.m., the man emerged. He was pushing a large laundry cart. Hospital laundry was transported daily. The cart was standard. It would not have raised suspicion. The man loaded the cart into the van. He closed the doors. He drove away. The timestamp was 11:43 a.m., less than 30 minutes after Sarah Chen had stepped off the elevator. Ortega felt sick. This was planned. This was coordinated. This was professional. She requested the traffic camera footage from the surrounding streets. The van was spotted heading south on 10th Avenue at 11:47 a.m. It turned east on Hawthorne Boulevard at 11:51 a.m. At 11:58 a.m., it merged onto I-205 heading south. The van disappeared into traffic. 2. Digital forensics analyzed Sarah's phone. The text message had been sent from a burner phone. a prepaid device purchased with cash at a convenience store in Gresham 3 days earlier. The store's security footage showed a man in a baseball cap and sunglasses. His face was not visible. The text message mentioned, "What happened?" Ortega needed to know what that meant. She interviewed Sarah's friends, family, and colleagues. No one knew of any incident, no conflict, no threat, no reason anyone would target her. But Sarah's best friend, Dr. Emily Rodriguez, mentioned something. 3 weeks earlier, Sarah had treated a patient in the ED, a woman with severe injuries, bruising, broken ribs, signs of prolonged abuse. Sarah had reported it. She'd contacted the police. She'd testified that the injuries were consistent with domestic violence. The woman's boyfriend was arrested. His name was Connor Briggs, 32 years old, a record of assault, a history of violence. Briggs had been released on bail 2 weeks ago. Ortega pulled Briggs's file. She saw his last known address. She saw his vehicle registration, a white panel van. At 6:45 p.m., tactical units surrounded Briggs's apartment in East Portland. Ortega was there. She carried a warrant. They breached the door at 6:52 p.m. The apartment was empty. No Briggs. No Sarah Chen. But the apartment told a story. On the kitchen table, investigators found printed hospital records, Dr. Sarah Chen's schedule, her photo, her home address, her daily routine. On the wall, there was a map of Mercy General. The 4th floor was circled. The ventilation system was marked. In the bedroom, they found more. A burner phone, receipts from a hardware store, vent grates, wire cutters, zip ties. Connor Briggs had planned this for weeks. The question was where he'd taken her. Detectives ran Briggs's known associates, his financial records, his cell phone pings before he'd switched to burners. One location appeared multiple times, an industrial area near the Columbia River, a warehouse district. At 8:30 p.m., officers located Briggs's van parked behind an abandoned warehouse on North Columbia Boulevard. The building had been vacant for 2 years. Broken windows, graffiti on the walls. Tactical units surrounded the structure. Ortega announced their presence. No response. At 8:47 p.m., they entered. The warehouse was dark, empty. Debris covered the floor. They heard something, a muffled sound from the back corner. Officers rushed forward. Behind a stack of pallets, they found a metal storage container, padlocked. The muffled sounds grew louder. They cut the lock. Inside, Dr. Sarah Chen lay bound and gagged. Her eyes were wide with terror. She was alive. Connor Briggs was apprehended 6 hours later at a motel in Salem, Oregon. He was packing a duffel bag. He had $8,000 in cash. He had a fake ID. He was preparing to run. Briggs confessed within 3 hours. He'd planned everything. He blamed Dr. Chen for his arrest. He blamed her for his girlfriend leaving him. He blamed her for destroying his life. He'd followed her for weeks. He'd learned her routine. He'd stolen the maintenance badge. He'd cut the camera feeds. He'd waited in the service corridor. When Sarah walked down the hallway at 11:18 a.m., Briggs was waiting in the supply room. He'd ambushed her. He'd used chloroform. He'd dragged her into the vent. He'd planned to kill her. He'd planned to make her suffer first. But the police had moved faster than he'd expected. Connor Briggs was charged with kidnapping, assault, breaking and entering, and attempted murder. The evidence was overwhelming. Security footage, DNA evidence, his own confession. The trial lasted 3 weeks. The jury deliberated for 4 hours, guilty on all counts. Briggs was sentenced to 35 years in prison without possibility of parole. Dr. Sarah Chen attended the sentencing. She read a victim impact statement. She described the terror, the helplessness, the certain belief that she would die. But she also described something else: resilience, strength, survival. "He tried to break me," She said. He failed. Dr. Chen took 6 months off work. She attended therapy 3 times a week. She moved to a new apartment. She adopted a dog. She learned self-defense. When she returned to Mercy General, her colleagues welcomed her with tears and applause. She cried. She felt safe again. Mercy General implemented security changes. All hospital badge access was upgraded with biometric verification. Camera systems were hardened against tampering. Panic buttons were installed in every staff area. The Portland Police Bureau now includes the Chen case in training materials. How a well-planned abduction can happen even in a secure facility. How security gaps can be exploited. How quick action saves lives. Sarah Chen continues to work in emergency medicine. She still saves lives. She still runs marathons. She still volunteers at the free clinic. But she never forgets that October morning. She never forgets the smell of chloroform. She never forgets the darkness of that storage container.